Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 24. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall as usual. You want to get in on the show? Tweet at us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. Kevin is at Kev Believes the First Team Believes Me at 3. Smash subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on the Eli Network. Just follow us wherever you want to. Gentlemen, there's been a lot of big news, but the most recent big news I want to talk about, EA Sports College Football is coming back to video games everywhere. Probably August, I would assume. Did you guys ever play those games, and are you excited? I only really played like 2 college football games. Not the biggest fan. I'm not a huge fan of doing the recruiting and everything. More interested in the product on the field. But, big news for college football fans. Either of you guys NCAA football fans?
No, I always, whenever you always ask these questions, Matthew, you being my brother, I feel it's weird that you are asking. I know you're asking for the podcast, but it's still super weird. No, not as ton. We did not play them growing up, but I'm happy for those who really, really like them. So,
Kevin?
I like NCAA sports, but I'm not going to play the video game of it. So,
is Trevor Lawrence a shoe-in for the cover at this point?
I don't know. I don't know how that works.
The last cover athlete was Denard Robinson from Michigan, and that didn't work out so great.
I just don't know how it works with like how the athletes things, like who is it the best player? Do players have to agree? I don't know how it works. So yes, He's the best player, so he should be on the cover. But
fair. All right, well, let's get into some Washington-centric sports. So the Mariners have announced their spring training schedule, and per reporting from Kevin just before the show, they are still going with a full game schedule. There is no universal DH, and they will do 7-inning doubleheaders if necessary during the pandemic season that will be coming up soon. Pitchers and catchers report for the Mariners on February 17th, which is next week. And then the first spring training game is February 28th, the final day of February on a Saturday. So, gentlemen, football season is over. How excited for the Mariners season are you? And let's just give fans some, a little bit of expectations going into it. What should fans kind of be expecting going into the season? Young talent, that sort of thing. So, Sean, I'm going to throw it to you. What's your level of excitement for this Mariners season? And what do you think the fans should be looking for and expecting coming out of this 2021 season?
I'm pretty excited. I don't know if everybody, if the casual person to be very excited because the Mariners are not going to compete this year. That is not their goal. Their goal is to compete maybe in a year or so. I'm really excited because hopefully this year we start to see some of those prospects where we've been talking about for a while. Kelnick, maybe Hancock, Logan Gilbert. There's a couple that are could make an appearance, but I'm not counting on. But we're going to start to see all these prospects that we've talked about. So the next 2 years are really when you're going to see these kids, and that's why I'm excited this year. This year, for the record, I'm hoping maybe 70 wins.
No predictions 70. Yet, but okay, 70 is a reasonable expectation in your mind?
Yeah, about 70. They're not competing for a wild card or anything like that. So that's kind of upside 70 wins maybe.
Kevin, what about you? What's your level of excitement going into this season?
Kind of the same as Sean. I'm not expecting anything. Heck, if we're 10 back from the wild card, I'll be happy. Type of deal. That, and also to see the current prospects continue to see. I want to see more. I want to see consistency out of Kyle Lewis. I want to see Evan White's bat get a little bit more consistent, a little bit more better swinging. Swinging at better pitches. Also a little because now because they announced that D Gordon today is no longer coming back with it, or he's going to the Reds, I think.
He is.
So, yeah. So interested to see what they do there at second base, either with Shed Long or who's a guy that was playing in outfield but kind of played everywhere last year. I totally forgot his name. Or Ty France could switch over from third too, since Kyle Seager's probably going to be there.
Are you thinking of Dylan Moore?
Dylan Moore could be a possibility. I'm trying to think of who I was saying in the text.
Ty France. Dylan Moore's projected to be the second baseman.
Who's that outfielder? I can't even remember his name.
Mitch Haniger. Jose Marmoleos?
Oh, Haggerty. That's what I was thinking. Because Haggerty has played second before. Sam Haggerty.
Oh, Jake Fraley will probably be the. Oh yeah.
Oh, and also, yeah, Jake Fraley actually could be up for it too. There's a lot of names that could, like, they
Outfield,
could have a lot of, especially if they do taxi league again. Like, you could see a lot of like switching in and out, just test. And I want to see that. Like, I don't want to see Shed Long the whole year. Like, unless Shed or who
Oh, Jake Fraley for outfield. Yeah, sorry, I was thinking you. Sorry, you were talking about second base. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, second base. I don't want to see like one, like, let's see multiple guys. Let's see what they got, and then kind of like go with the hot hand and kind of see what you can do. Yeah, and then also the prospect, like Sean mentioned, the prospects from the farm system coming up, and hopefully one of them has another Kyle Lewis type of season, just comes in and does things. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for baseball this year. Now, generally, that excitement kind of dips as the football season starts to come into play in the middle of the summer. But I'm pretty excited to see the Mariners this season and see what they've got. You guys have built up their prospects quite a bit, so I very much expect them to be called up and play at some point this season. So that will be something to look forward to. And also, I just really hope if the Mariners, are just, sorry, their usual selves, not great, not competitive. I just hope they kind of at least show some promise for next season, or at the very least, hit a bunch of dingers and make the game a little more entertaining, even if you do lose. I know it's tough in baseball, but I'm hoping some of the power bats that Mariners have in the prospect rotation will come up and, light up the scoreboard a little bit, hit some balls. I want someone to hit a ball out of Safeco over that left field fence at some point. I know it's going to be tough, but I want someone to do it, and I'm hoping at some point a Mariner prospect will be able to do that.
That's quite a shot.
That is quite a shot, but I think it's possible.
They didn't even do it. They didn't even do it during the home run derby, man. Like, that is a shot.
Honestly, what's his face at catcher might have a shot
For the Mariners?
Yeah, for the Mariners.
Tom Murphy?
Yeah, because he is jacked as hell. Like, that dude's jacked.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be the only person I could see even having it shot.
On the Mariners? Yeah, on the Mariners, yeah.
On the Mariners, yes. Maybe like a Nelson Cruz, like old man power, just getting it over, if Minnesota, I don't even know if Minnesota's even coming to Safeco this year, but
if it's a normal schedule, the travel will be the same, and they will be playing normal teams as of right now.
So
I'm also excited to see some of the veteran guys. I feel like the Mariners have a pretty decent core at the moment. Mitch Haniger, Kyle Lewis. I know you guys aren't the hugest fans of Kyle Seager, but I still like Kyle Seager.
Kyle Seager was going off toward the end of the year, so I'm actually kind of interested to see.
Did you just call Kyle Lewis a vet?
I mean, the core that will be there.
Oh, I was gonna say he has like 300 at bats in his career.
Like, I know he was a rookie last year. I'm not saying, but they're starting to build a core, like those guys, and then J.P. Crawford. Like those are the guys that I like. If I'm buying a ticket for a losing team, I want to see those players play. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about D. Gordon going to Cincinnati. He was a player that the Mariners acquired a few years ago. Came from Miami. So what do you guys?
Strange Gordon, by the way, that's his name.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of this? Are you kind of not surprised at all, a little surprised, or totally surprised by it? Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's not really a part of our future. And for the most part, he's kind of sucked with us. Like his best thing has been speed, and like he's just like, I want to hit the ball, and I'm like, no, you need to get the heck on base. Like, that's what you need to do. Get on base by any means necessary. But he wants to just do it by swinging. So can't really use his main weapon of his speed when he's not on base nearly as often as he should. And he's getting older too. Like, I'd rather see there's just so many ifs. Like, we saw so many hot flashes from people like Ty France, Haggerty, Shed, last year. And then you also have some of the farm system kids. Like, I'd rather see that versus a guy that won't do anything necessary to get on base. He just wants to hit the ball to get on base. Because I mean, we're still going to be fine in stolen bases. We've led the league in stolen bases for the last 2 seasons. So I imagine we'll still be fine there, but I mean, props. He's a decent dude. It's not like he's going around doing terrible things. So I wish him the best of luck in Cincinnati. But I rather just I want to see young prospect kids play, and this gives them an opportunity to do that. Especially since he was the part of the plan for the future. So might as well just get rid of him. And I would like to see maybe us get something in return. Did we get anything in return, or was he just a free agent? I can't even remember.
I think it's just free agent.
Yeah, so that would have been nice to get like something, like a sandwich or something, in return. But I don't know.
I'd be all you get for D Gordon.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he changed his name to Strange. Be like, hey, he's different now. He's got the Strange in the title. You want to give us like a Big Mac meal or something? Like anything? I don't know.
Sean, what are your thoughts on D Gordon leaving?
He is everything that I've heard. He's a great person. He is not a great baseball player. So it's okay. He's taking at bats, like Kevin said, from kids who I need to see play. He was not very good with the Mariners. Just simply put, he did not get on base enough, like Kevin said, for as little power as he had. A guy like that, to steal bases, you got to get on base, and he just does not. Like, having a sub 300 OPS is not cutting it. And yeah, I wish him the best. Good dude, but yeah, a sandwich Kevin's probably all we're getting for D Gordon if we did trade him. So it's okay. Good luck in Cincinnati.
We got this bobblehead for him. That's what we got. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
He
was incredibly marketable. I'll give that. D Gordon was.
Yeah, that's what I do want to say. D leaving, it's sad because he was such a marketable guy. He was such a culture, clubhouse guy. So I'm sure a lot of the people that were teammates with him are sad to see him go. But obviously, wish him the best in Cincinnati. But you guys were mentioning his production. I always thought he was more of an on-base guy, and he just didn't really do that as much as he probably could have or lived up to his potential in that area with the Mariners. But he'll probably go to Cincinnati, and like all Mariners do, they do better once they leave the Mariners somehow. So wish the best to D Gordon, and hope he does well in Cincinnati. But gentlemen, I just want to make you feel really old before we move on to football here. There is someone, Juan Thien, on the Mariners who was born in 2000. So I just want to make you guys feel old that there is a player born in 2000 on the Mariners squad right now. So just to let you all know how old we are getting.
Wait. Yeah, there's like Marte is 19. Yeah. And he's like their next big.
On the 40-man roster on the website, that is the highest birthday. Okay, that's all I'm saying. That was all I'm saying. So, gentlemen, let's jump into some football coverage here. And the biggest game of the year was yesterday, the Super Bowl, or as the people in my household call it, the Superb Owl. It was a big game yesterday, and the Bucs just absolutely dominated, 31-9. I don't know when you guys turned it off. I turned it off about the time the streaker was on screen for about 2 seconds, and then I was like, okay, you're not gonna show him, so I'm good here. So overall thoughts on the game. Who wants to go first? Let's throw that out.
Kevin, go first.
Oh God. All right. So yeah, this wasn't like. Now I as I mentioned to our friend Brett, I don't really follow them going in. Like I did, like starting the game, I had no idea their starting tackles were out. Had I known that like last week on the podcast, I wouldn't have predicted, of course. I still probably would have taken the Chiefs. But I thought it would be a little bit, because like O-line is just super, super important. As we all know here in Seattle, it's a big thing. And then also with Mahomes having turf toe, I just got to call out like all the Seattle haters that are on Mahomes like right now, just saying Mahomes is hot trash. Like what else do you want the man to do? Like he literally had both his starting tackles missing. I honestly, the O-line coach for the Chiefs kind of needs to be looked at, because what they did too, they took the right tackle, moved him over to left tackle, and then they like switched the guard around and then did some other thing too, to where like three people weren't playing their natural position. And you're doing that in the Super Bowl against one of the best like front forwards probably in the league. Shaq's kind of good, and so is that JPP guy.
They also had their guard out too.
Oh yeah, and they're guard too. So it's like you probably shouldn't do like just keep your right tackle like just and then solidify the left side with like a tight end and just do that instead of having multiple people like not playing their normal position against a really good front seven. Just seems like a thing. I don't know. But pretty much what Todd Bowles just kind of said, hey, my front four is better than your O-line right now. So I mean they only blitzed 6 times. Yeah. Yeah. And Shaq Lawson had what, 10 quarterback pressures with sacks, something like that?
No, he had 5, which was 3 more than 8, sorry, which was 3 more than anybody else.
So yeah, it was kind of a mess. Like we thought the Chiefs would put up more, of course. Chiefs side, like the defense kind of now I'm going to go into this too. The refs were kind of shitty. I'm not going to lie. There was some terrible calling. The whole PI in the end, like the one PI where it was totally uncatchable that should never have been called. The ticky tacky holding on the pick by Honey Badger, like it was like if you're gonna do that, it needs to be both sided, and they did not. And that's what was like. If you're doing it on both sides and you're being ticky tacky with both teams, I'm okay with that. Like just have like consistency. Just like what I was saying last week with the whole Green Bay game. I'm like, it's okay not to call anything the whole game, but you can't call anything like on the last play just because it's the last play. Like refs need to be, and that's why like when I'm saying these systems, like that whole squad should be suspended for the first 4 games next year. No pay, like period. Be like, you guys officiated like shit in the biggest game of the year, and our league is a joke because of it. Y'all are going out without pay for 4 weeks for the next season. Good luck working at McDonald's for the first month. Then we'll bring you back in. Like, there has to be punishment for refs, period. Because like, or else stuff like there's just too much on the line nowadays. There is way too much. Like, I get they're not going to be perfect, but at the same time too, there's just so much like in this day and age with technology and stuff like that. You can go back and review these things. Now I'm not saying
you can't. That is not on the rules, Kevin.
You can't do it on every single thing, but at the same time too, like you have to get better at what you do. Like if that's your job, like and the league also needs to make them full time, as we mentioned.
I was gonna say that is not their job. That is the problem.
They do need to make it full time. Like the league has the money, just do it. Like there's no point not to. That would be the whole. Okay, moving off from that. It's kind of a whole thing too. Yes, Pat Mahomes, there was a couple of bad throws by him. There were also some very spectacular throws, like the one where like he went to the left side, did like a turnaround and did the Russell Tyler throw in the corner of the end zone, and the guy just couldn't get it. Like he literally did that after doing a 360 and throwing it and putting it into position to where only the receiver could get it. And had the receiver not been Hardman and actually been a decent receiver, I think he might have had a chance. But and then also the falling forward, throwing it for 30 freaking yards. That was with the sidearm. That was just nutty. All in all, I was surprised by it. I was also going to mention too. Sorry, going on to the Tampa Bay side. Do you want me to segment why this is bad for the Hawks, or do you want to get Sean?
I mean, you can go ahead and make all your points right now. Let's lay it out.
Okay. So, but why this is bad for the Seahawks is because literally Pete's going to take that and be like, that's how you win a Super Bowl. And be like, no, you only got that because both their starting tackles are out and Pat Mahomes had turf toe or broken toe, or whatever the heck he had. Like, had both their starting tackles been there? Well, technically their right tackle was on the left side. Sorry. Eric Fisher and their guard were there. Like, this is probably a different story. I'm not gonna lie. Like you're gonna be scoring points. Now, not to take it away from Tampa Bay's defense. Tampa Bay's defense did great. Like, their middle linebacker, what's his name? Levante David. Like he's just like, I'm gonna take Kelsey pretty much the whole time, and he did solid. They just did cover 2 and rushed 4 and put a safety over top of Hill and just said, beat us. And they couldn't just because the pressure was just too good. But yeah, this is bad for Seahawks fans just because they're not going to go towards the system that they should, which is more the Kansas City style. and they're going to now go try to do like what Tampa Bay is doing, because it is a copycat league, and do like conservative running the ball, just having Russell make plays like kind of like what he was doing in his early years, and that's not where it should be going. So I'll pass the buck off.
John?
Can you share my screen?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
there's a lot that happened in this game. Oh shoot, no. So yeah, Mahomes is not the problem. If you watch this game and thought Mahomes, Mia Kime signed it up perfect, you need to go to the eye doctor. I'm not going to say optometrist, but I just said it. So you need to go check this out. He did not play perfect, did not play great. The advanced stats showed that he had his first quote unquote bad game in his NFL career. He was negative EPA for the first time in his career. I would argue if Tyreek Hill catches this ball, which he should have caught this ball, hit him in the hands, or if Nicole Hardman catches that freaking ball, he would have a positive EPA. Or Travis Kelce catches this ball, he has a positive EPA. The problem was they blitzed, four guys. Like they had perfect game plan. They cover two, blitz four, you gotta get home and you pray. You pray that is enough for Mahomes, because that is how you beat Mahomes. This right here, this what you're seeing is there is two guys being beat on the play right now. That is his third step. That is the minimum a route can be in shotgun, and he's already got two guys beat. That is less than 1 second into the snap, and this happens. Like we'll show it from the beginning. Now it's slowed down in the beginning, obviously here, but watch how quickly every single Kansas City person loses assignment. There is no quarterback that has ever played history of football who would have won that football game the way that team blocked. That was embarrassing. I got to try to erase there. That was absolutely embarrassing. It was, how do I get out of here? Sorry, I'm trying to do two things. We'll just show more of stepping up in the pockets, that there was no pocket. Mahomes could do nothing. He was pressured, what was it they said, on 2.5 seconds or less, 50% of the times. He literally had no time at all, anytime. It was an NFL record. He ran, scrambled, or got sacked for 500 yards, 497 yards in the game. That is almost 10 yards per time he snapped the ball. He had to run just to get enough time to throw the freaking football. Nicole Hardman and Sammy Watkins need to be taken out back and look at the flowers. You couldn't find time to get open during that.
Yeah.
They were doubling Hill, doubling Kelce, saying someone beat us. Mahomes still got it to Hill, and he dropped the touchdown. Got it to Kelce. Kelce got half the balls thrown at him in that game. Like, that is ridiculous. Like, I've only seen one more time in my life a one person trying to carry a team. That was Russell Wilson trying to carry a team, and no one just doing anything. No one. Defense, offense. He was literally by himself. He deserves to shoot everybody out the entire time. It was embarrassing. Kevin was also right. The calls in the first half were ridiculous. Tampa Bay had one penalty in the first three quarters. That is bullshit. Sorry, but that is just complete bullshit. Yep. It's just Tampa Bay got their 1%. They cut every single break you could possibly get. Kevin said they have 3 missing O-linemen. Mahomes is hurt. Every bounce in the entire game. Tom Brady threw a pick and got called back on a phantom penalty. Like, everything that could go right went right for Tampa Bay, and basically everything that would go wrong went wrong for Kansas City. It was just here's a route tree on scrambles for the game. Can you tell which one is Tom Brady and which one's Mahomes? Like, it was so bad. It was the offensive line for Kansas City graded a 45. Put that in perspective, the Jets had one player who graded worse than that all season. Start for them. Basically, the Kansas City O-line was the worst Jets player across the board. You're never going to win a game like that. No one in the history is going to win a game like that. That has nothing to do with Mahomes. There's only so much a team could literally do with a D3 O-line in front of them. And no, Seahawks fans, they always talk about how we got to appreciate Russell now because this O-line, we see what it looks like without an O-line. And my simple tweet, and I'll get off of this before we go to the next thing, is whose job is it to build an O-line? You've had 7 years. 7 years to build an O-line in front of Russell Wilson, and you have failed. And both of those people were just extended for 5 years. That's all I'm going to say. Russell's not the problem. Figure it out. Now, is this bad for the Seahawks or not? I don't think it really matters. Oh, shoot. I don't think it really matters too much. I'll stop sharing my screen here. I don't think it matters too much, but sorry, that threw me off. Oh wow. Okay, just go on. I'm done.
Oh, okay. I'll take over for a little bit here. What I was gonna say is the reason why I only think it's bad is because it is a copycat league, and Pete, kind of in a way, just because of what him, formerly being in the division, and because of the what the defense did, like I just think that excites him, and it just makes him want to do that. Now he can't do that though, because one, you don't have picks, two, you don't have the cap. Like you just literally, unless you literally John Schneider, you just let John Schneider do John Schneider things, and like take Adams and like make something beautiful out of it, to where you can get picks and maybe get like a decent, like, starting player, and kind of like go from there. That's like your only really saving grace. To
I just don't think I just don't think that the Bucks, how they won, they were a very lucky team. I don't think that really affects how the Seahawks are built, and I don't think it's going to change anything. If he stays there, yeah, it's going to be hard, but I think the biggest thing is in their division. They need to win their division, their slaughter of their division. And Tom Brady, I don't think is going to get back. Like the odds came out, and the Kansas City Chiefs are by far the 3-1 favorites to go back. Like they're the number one team by like half, double the next team.
Go ahead.
So, but like you can't build it like Tampa Bay, because that's not how we're built. You can't do things like it's just Tom Brady. He's the exception to the rule. I mean, don't look into it. Don't look at how Tampa Bay won too much.
Also, isn't Tampa Bay over the cap right now? Like,
so is Kansas City. I mean, a lot of teams are over the cap technically, but like you can work things out by cutting guys and stuff like that.
I don't want to take away anything from Tampa Bay's defense, because they did play good, even with Eric Fisher in there and their starting guard. I think they probably would have caused some havoc. Nowhere near what they did. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think Kansas City would have. I think it'd have been a way more closer game with Eric Fisher and the guard in there. But they still they were like Shaq Lawson is not a joke. Like he is a top player. And with JPP and that piece of crap in the middle that steps on people, I forgot his name.
Can I say before I go too far, the guard, I'm going to butcher his name, Leonard Tardoff. He's got a hyphenated name. He was not playing this year because he opted out because he's actually an MD, and he was in Canada fighting coronavirus. Oh, yeah. So that's what he was doing the whole year. He was actually
both their guards. Both their guards ranked out of the bottom half of all guards. Both their starting tackles are top 30, and their center is also top half. A little bit around the middle. So, but also at the same time, I'm going to go to the Chiefs defense too. The Chiefs defense, as Sean's going to probably go on a little tangent here with Frank Clark here, and also a little bit of that secondary too. Like I've mentioned, they were the worst red zone defense pretty much all year. And they also gave up way too many penalties throughout the year. Now, giving up penalties is okay when you have when Patrick Mahomes is doing his thing and you're scoring a touchdown every other drive. It's okay to have some penalties, but like Tony Romo was saying, like, when you have 2 penalties on a drive, it's a 70% chance to score. Like, that's okay if you got Pat Mahomes doing his thing. Like, but if Pat Mahomes is struggling with turf toe and also because his O-line's in shambles, like, you can't do stuff like that. Now, a lot of it was the refs. Like I said, it was terrible reffing and they should be suspended. But it was obvious. But it was also post or pre this game too. Like over the season, they had a lot of penalty. They weren't like the top 2, but they did have a lot of struggling penalties and stuff like that, just because there is a lack of good players on that. I mean,
defense,
yeah. So I know they don't want to say it, but like they need to. One, I think they need to get a weapon because once the Pat Mahomes money starts coming in, You're not going to be able to pay Kelsey and Hill at the same time. You got to draft weapons and have a third one in there that can actually get open when those other two are covered. And start drafting defense. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna jump in here. So I'm gonna start with the Bucks. Let's just give credit where credit's due. The Bucks, their game plan, solid. Defense,
Perfect.
like, I mean, that defense this entire playoffs has been excellent. Like, beat up Taylor Heineke, which not a tough task. Beat up Drew Brees, took it to Drew Brees, went to Lambeau Field, beat Aaron Rodgers, and then he beats Patrick Mahomes. So major credit to that defense. You know, Shaq Barrett, Ndamukong Suh, JPP, Levante David,
White.
yeah. So like, yeah, a lot of guys there deserve a lot of credit. And then Antoine Winfield Jr., you know, week in the regular season, how Tyreek Hill gave him the peace sign. Like when Antoine Winfield did it, I was like, yeah, that's karma right there.
Yeah.
For Tyreek Hill. But yeah, overall that defense, like, you know, like that was a beatdown reminiscent of the Seahawks 43-8. Now it's not quite the difference that the Seahawks had. So, you know, obviously not as good. Just letting you know that, Tampa Bay. But very, very good defense throughout this playoffs and deserve all the credit in the world for what they did to Patrick Mahomes. The offense, I mean, Brady didn't have to do much because that offense was clicking. And that offense was just a lot of guys who, you know, they just kind of picked up later. Like, you know, Leonard Fournette, I'm sure he's quite happy the Jags cut him because now he's a champ. You know, AB was, you know, sitting at home and now he's a champ. Gronk was retired. Now he's a champ. You know, Mike Evans has been there a while.
He already was. Gronk was already a champ.
That's true. Mike Evans has been there a while and he finally got his due I mean, he's been a great player this whole time. And, you know, now he finally has a title to his name. So, you know, that offense deserves a lot of credit as well. I mean, the Chiefs side of the ball, like let's break it down here. You guys have mentioned the refs. I mean, yes, the reffing wasn't great, but 31-9, the refs, come on.
And it was my biggest issue was the first half. Like they definitely decided a lot of points in that first half.
Now, and in that first half, you know, there were some penalties that helped them out. But why are the Chiefs calling timeouts to help Brady? You know,
the Chiefs didn't play perfect at all. No, not at all. I'm not saying that.
So, not great there. The offensive line issues. That's where I have the biggest problem here because we all picked the Chiefs, right? And we picked the Chiefs. Why? Because of Patrick Mahomes. I understand that it's not solely his fault for this loss. Absolutely not. The defense, the offense, they all deserve blame. But I don't like all these Patrick Mahomes apologists who are saying he deserves no blame. Absolutely, he deserves blame for this loss. You can't not score a touchdown on offense and not be blamed for a loss as the quarterback of the offense.
He threw too.
Yeah, fair. Like
the receiver, he just didn't catch his own pass.
The receivers did not play well. Like Travis Kelce, who I predicted as the MVP, had a pretty solid day. You know, 10 catches, 133 yards, no touchdowns. And Tyreek, you know, he was double covered as he should be in this game, so he didn't have as big a day as he could have. And you know, there were drops. Tyreek dropped that one, like you brought up the photo. And then, you know, the throw where Mahomes is like parallel to the ground, like Gordie Howe with the goal, like no one else. There's probably no one else who could do that.
Probably the greatest throw in NFL history. And no one will remember it.
The greatest incomplete pass in NFL history.
He did everything but catch it himself.
Yeah.
To give an example, Russell has done that throw and he's completed it. It happened in Arizona and he did it to Zach Miller. It was for 10 yards. It was for 10 yards and Zach Miller had to go down and get it. Like that man sidearmed that thing for 30 yards horizontally going down.
Next gen stats said he had a window of 8 inches and he put it in 8 inches.
Now it wouldn't have been anything like if it got if it's nowhere near, like it was literally in Williams's face, like that the running back, like it's just nuts what that man can do.
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead. So yeah, my biggest, Patrick Mahomes obviously deserves some blame for this loss. Most of the blame, absolutely not. I think you could distribute it fairly evenly. The defense, they just couldn't get to him with Jones and Frank Clark. They didn't really get to Brady. They weren't really in his face that much. The linebackers weren't great. And then the Honey Badger in that secondary just got absolutely torched. So, you know, the defense didn't help him at all. But, the offense was what we were expecting to get going. Like, that second half, I was waiting for like something to click, something to switch, something to, Mahomes was down 24-0 last year against the Texans and then just clobbered them. And he did it constantly last playoff. So we were all waiting for him to turn that switch on and finally get it going. Just score a touchdown, like do something. And they just never did it. So that entire offense deserves, blame for not scoring a touchdown. And then you guys mentioned the offensive line. Like, obviously, the offensive line is the biggest question mark. If you knew this was the case going in, why did you not plan better for it? Why are there not running backs in the backfield to kind of, check one or two guys coming at Patrick Mahomes? Like, why is there not, like, Seahawks throw 6 down linemen sometimes? Like, do that. Like, something. They didn't
adjust in the middle of a game.
Yeah, they didn't adjust. They didn't change anything at halftime.
Nothing.
They did the same thing. They're like, Patrick Mahomes is going to bail us out eventually, and he never did. Now, it was the worst game of the year to have your worst game for Patrick Mahomes. So does this like taint him at all? No. I'm still taking Patrick Mahomes most days. This was just his worst day, and it was just the worst time to have your worst game. If it were, a 3-game series, even, I think we'd all take Mahomes in the third game because, they split 1-1. So it's one game, and, you don't want to take too much away from it, but like, give the credit to the Bucs here. They kicked the poop out of them. Like, it wasn't close. I turned it off in the fourth, and, I haven't turned off a Super Bowl early in a while. And, we're Seahawks fans, so I haven't turned it off in a while. So it's weird to turn off a Super Bowl early. But when the one team's dominating like the Bucs did, and I don't know how much home field really played in it. I don't think it really played a factor at all, to be honest with you. But yeah, like let's not like Patrick. I want people to like give Patrick Mahomes some blame for this, because yes, he's a great quarterback, but he played bad. Like I don't know why people aren't like railing. Maybe not railing. He didn't deserve to be railed because, like you guys mentioned, he was scrambling a lot. It just, you've got to put some blame on his shoulders.
Not a lot. The most in NFL history, recorded history.
Yeah. So I don't like being a Patrick Mahomes apologist, like a lot of people are doing right now. That's just my biggest issue with everything.
I get it. I would say my counter to what Mia Kime said. She said top 10. There's people who like Golick, and some of those people were like Golick Jr. Like, he deserves no ounce of blame. He does, but he isn't in the top, I would say 7 reasons or 8 reasons why they lost. Like you said it perfect, Matthew. Tampa Bay outcoached Kansas City a million ways from Sunday. They did the game plan, 2 deep safety, got home with 4, and you said it. They had all game to adjust and didn't do anything. There's like, Mahomes will do this, and Mahomes is like out there like a kid who's playing, that one really good kid on the basketball team and just getting run by an AAU team, and he's just asking for help, and no one. They're just, nothing changed. They just kept saying, he'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. And we saw a team and a person reach their limitation. Like, it's like, look, only one guy can do so much, and they just, like you said, Tampa Bay's D-line kicked the crap. He got pressured 60% of the dropbacks. They kicked the crap out of that O-line, and it was a whooping on a historic level.
Yeah.
And they could get nothing going out because of that.
Well, and let me say what this means for Seahawks fans. What this means for Seahawks fans is this is the exact playbook that the Seahawks had when they won their Super Bowl. Great defense, and your offense just feeds off of it and does enough to just. They could have scored 14 in that first half and been fine because they only scored 9. So that offense didn't need to do much, but it did score 31. Now, with the Seahawks and how they're currently built, that's probably not going to be a realistic game plan. They're probably going to have to go more of the Mahomes Chiefs offense route. But what that means is you have to invest in the offensive line as much as you can this offseason. And then you also need to invest in the defensive line, because if everyone else is trying to rush to this game plan, clearly that is how you beat this game plan, is you put 4 guys down and say, these 4 guys are going to dominate. And, when the Seahawks had the Legion of Boom, like, Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill, like all those guys, like you didn't have to bring anyone else. Like you could bring Bobby occasionally, but you don't have to bring Bobby during those times. Like you could have 4 down guys and get to the quarterback. We crushed Peyton Manning with that. So I think this game really shows that, great defense can still win you a title, even if your offense might not be absolutely out of this ballpark, Patrick Mahomes amazing. So that's what I mainly took away from it. Anything else you guys want to add to this?
I think that the Seahawks are actually closer to Kansas City because what the problem was with Kansas. So Seahawks offense actually, Russell Wilson, according to advanced numbers, actually had the greatest Super Bowl ever on that Super Bowl. He literally did not score. He just marched up and down the field against the Broncos and was like, well, this is what we're doing. Like, get over it. He's super efficient, was great that game. Basically, played perfect football. The Seahawks were built to stop the pass. How teams beat them or got close games was they ran on them. That's how Kansas City was built. Kansas City has no big guys that are going to stop the run. Opposite of Tampa Bay. They were like, you can run on us. That's what I was tweeting during the game. Like, you're Tampa Bay, Tom Brady, when their first 2 drives got nothing. I go, you're going to win this game by running the football. Doesn't matter who or what, you've got to, because that's where you're going to get yards. And then the next drive started, and they ran more than they threw it. Tom Brady threw like 3 plays beyond 10 yards. He basically threw everything super close, did nothing. And but that's what the game plan was. Like you said, Matthew, Tampa Bay got out-coached Kansas City. They did what the defense gave them and did that. Kansas City forced it. And so the Seahawks are kind of built the way more Kansas City. Good run defense, not great run defense. Kansas City's not as good, but they were built to stop the pass. And their offense is very efficient. Tampa Bay is kind of built the other way. They're really good run defense, weaker on the back end, and their offense is kind of like Tom Brady's not the same old Tom Brady anymore. He played well enough to win, but
here's the thing with Tom Brady. Like, he beat who everyone thinks is going to be maybe a future GOAT. Like, at this point, unless Patrick Mahomes
he had nothing to do with
but
Mahomes.
I understand what you're saying, but he beat him. Like, it doesn't matter.
No, Tampa Bay. Shaq Barrett beat Mahomes. Tom Brady had nothing to do with Mahomes. Tom Brady did not play a defense out there. Tom Brady was like running out there with Tyrann Mathieu guarding nobody.
What team actually scored a touchdown?
Tom Brady.
Okay, so what team did not score a touchdown?
Tyreek Hill.
Okay, like,
good job.
You can't defend a team who doesn't score a touchdown. Like, I'm sorry.
No, but you're saying Tom Brady beat Mahomes. Tom Brady didn't come up with the game plan to beat Mahomes. Tom Brady did the bare minimum to win. Could legitimately 20 quarterbacks have won that game? Could 20 NFL quarterbacks have been in Tom Brady's position and won that game?
Maybe.
Probably more. Like, what was he asked to do?
So then what is the value of the quarterback position if anyone can do it? That's all I'm asking. Like,
it's one game, though. That's what I'm saying. In this game, Tom Brady didn't really do a whole lot. He didn't have to. I was talking to my buddy who will be on later, at a later date. I was a big Tom Brady fan and a big Patriots fan. Has been read all the books. Met Tom Brady. He was the one who brought it up this morning. We worked together. He goes, Tom Brady didn't do a whole lot, but that's the point of Tom Brady is he does whatever it is to win. If you don't need him to win and you're just going to run the ball or throw a 1-yard slant to Gronk where no one's covering him, any NFL quarterback could have made that. Any backup NFL quarterback could have made that first touchdown throw. But Tom Brady took what you gave him, didn't force nothing, and here you go. Like, he just made the easy throws. I think that I saw wide receivers had an average separation of 6 yards for Tampa Bay during the game. Like, no tight windows, no nothing. Like, just taking the easy throws, dunking down, throwing the little screen to Fournette, things like that. Just doing what he did. I'm not saying like Tom Brady deserves any credit because that's, I think, a very good skill that a lot of people like Mahomes did it. He forced it near the end of the game. He had to because they were down by $1 billion. But like, it's Tom Brady takes what they give you. He usually always does. That's what Tom Brady does. But like the individual plays he made, a lot of quarterbacks today could have made those plays. 43-year-old Tom Brady is like that game.
I'm going to play devil's advocate with Sean a little bit here. Yes, he didn't really do anything crazy, but at the same time, too, depending on whether this was Tom Brady or if this was Leftwich or whatever the hell their offensive coordinator's plan is.
He's not the coordinator. He's the quarterback.
It was actually smarter for him not to. And here's why. Because anything down the field, big risk, like as you said, Kansas City is built to go against passing. Now, I mean, if any team's going to do it, it's going to be like the weapons galore. And it's so hard for Kansas City, too. Like, you have the best set of weapons pretty much any quarterback could ever ask for. Like, I mean, Gronk is like your fifth, pretty much, damn near. And that's the reason why he was open. And that's crazy because Gronk is a beast. Now, the thing is, the more times you go for 20 yards or more, the higher risk of turning the ball over. And what's the worst thing you can do as a quarterback, Tom Brady, is giving the ball to Mahomes to have more chances to score on you. You want to have long, sustained drives that are still going to score. Like that, like the whole time clock thing is a big key. Like keeping Mahomes off the field is huge. Like if you're going to go down and score like in the 30-second drive and give more time to Mahomes to come back and do the exact same thing, that's bad because Mahomes is going to do that more than what Tom Brady is going to do. So it's actually kind of better that they had short little stuff like that, long drives to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like Tom Brady took what the defense gave him. That's what teams need to do more. But again, like he didn't make any throws that were difficult. That's what I'm saying. Like we're talking like
you don't have to
situations. Though. You could have flipped quarterbacks. Mahomes wins this game. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's not. He didn't do anything that's Tom Brady did to win this game. Yeah. The defense is what I'm saying gives the credit. The defense and the coaching staff dominated this game. They dominated this game. Mahomes has never not scored a touchdown and never lost by more than 10 points. And they did it in the Super Bowl.
I mean, you're giving credit to the coaching staff, but he has to ultimately go out there and execute it. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I can hand the ball to Fournette. Like, I mean, come on. Like, Fournette scored a touchdown. That's basically all the points Kansas City scored. Like,
I mean, we've seen like Russell's terrible, like slant quick passes that have been intercepted. Like it does take, I mean,
but again, like I said, he averaged 6 yards of separation on each completion. Like there's no one with anywhere near any of these receivers that's catching passes.
Yeah, because they're that good, and Kansas City's defense is not that good.
Well, so. Mike Evans and Godwin combined for 40 yards on 3 catches. Like it was just he was taking what they gave him.
Yeah, because there's literally it's your choice. Like you have AB, you have Mike Evans, you have Godwin, you have Gronk, you have Fournette, you have it's who do you want? It's who's your choice. And I actually kind of thought he would kind of go to Gronk just because no one's expecting it. That's his boy, and that's who he's number one trust with is Gronk. And like literally, there's going to be one person on him. Like the whole Tyrann Mathieu showing him after that big play when he went down and he's just holding up his thing like. Who's got Gronk over here? And it's just like nobody, because literally you got Evans probably double covered, you got Godwin covered, you got that
was also a great play call though. Just having him like sweep across and no one even saw him.
Like that's a big Seahawks play too. That first play, that's a Seahawks.
I'm not going to take anything away. Like he played a clean game.
Yeah,
like, and that's what you should do. Now, if Blaine Gabbert's in there, like, is he going to do the exact same thing? Maybe, but like there might be a mistake. There might be like, there might be a Jimmy Garoppolo like on a quick slant for 6 yards that he throws it behind him, and then it gets picked by a Diggs. Like,
but they could make 3 of those and still win. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it was such a blowout that there was no close window.
Yeah.
Like,
but what I'm saying is though, like you don't want to do that, and that's why Tom Brady should get credit is because you're like when you do that, you give the opportunity to your boy Patrick Mahomes to in better yard situations because it's probably going to be on their 40 now. You're giving them good field position, and then it's not as close of a game.
Remember, Brady did throw a pick, and there was a flag, so Brady did screw up.
That's true.
The Tampa Bay's longest play of the game was a flag. So like,
if I were to give it to anybody, I'd probably give it to Shaq Lawson. Like Shaq Lawson.
Yeah, the defense deserves like 90% of this credit here. Like they dominate.
I know, absolutely. Shaq Barrett and those guys on the front 4 are, if you could give them all MVP, I would absolutely have given them all MVP this game. But
I saw tweeting that you give Bulls the MVP right now because you can't give it to 11 people. You just give it to Bulls. Like that's what
I wish you could. That'd be sweet. Like
you had a defense that stopped Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Like you deserve Super Bowl MVP.
I was actually surprised I didn't give it to a defensive player. Like when the Seahawks dominated that defense, Malcolm Smith got it, and you give it to Tom Brady. Like
it should have been Tom Brady is
he had a clean sheet of no turnovers, and he executed the game plan.
Thanks to the penalty, but yeah.
So
it should have been Cam Chancellor, by the way. Super Bowl MVP should have been Cam Chancellor, but whatever.
All right, so let's move on here. So we do need to talk about one thing before we get into something a little bit more fun here. So, Sean, you brought this up just before the show that actually, first let's mention Russell Wilson did win the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Let's give a little round of applause for that. He's well deserved.
Just before, yeah.
Yeah, he's done a lot for the community of Seattle. I'm not sure if he's actually still visiting the Children's Hospital like he usually does.
I don't think he can because of COVID protocol.
Yeah, that's what but I'm sure he found
maybe
other ways.
I think he does via Skype. I think
he does. I saw videos of him Skyping kids. So
I think he still does some Skype calls with kids. But I imagine when this whole COVID thing is over, he's going to go. I wouldn't see why he wouldn't go back and do Children's Hospital again.
Yeah.
So.
And, he has the Why Not You Foundation. He does a lot of different things for the Seattle area, so well-deserved award there for Russell. But let's talk about actual on-the-field stuff. Russell's camp is apparently growing increasingly frustrated, according to Jason La Conforna on Twitter. And then I've actually seen a few stories, and even PTI debated it today, about Russell's trade rumors. So I just want to get your guys' gauge on this. So how serious do you think the trade rumors are? And what is a frustrated Russell? What would you guys do if you heard this as Pete or Shotty? And don't give me this is what they're going to do. What would you do as Pete or Shotty? So Sean, go ahead.
What do I buy in the rumors? I think we're on like step 2 of 10 of the Deshaun Watson, where Deshaun Watson's on a 10 right now. We're not there yet. I don't know if we'll ever get there, but he is telling them like, look, we're on this path right now. We are officially on this road to maybe demanding a trade eventually. I think these are started by Russell's camp because he is not happy with how it's currently going. He was not happy when Shotty left. I don't think he's like actively seeking a trade or anything like that. I think obviously the camp stuff is from his camp. He was last year said, I want to cook or I'm going to cook somewhere else. He is now saying, get me an offensive line. What I would do if I was them, I would build an offensive line. I would make trades. I'd get rid of some guys on this team I don't think need to be here, not because they're not good, but because I don't think we need the position they play. We don't need what their cost is. That would be a lot of different players. I won't get into that, but we need to fix O-line. We need a third receiver, and we need D-line. I kind of stepped on what we're going to talk about later with the Seahawks needs in the draft, but those are the 3 things I'd address. We need to fix that O-line. Either it's free agents or draft, and that means trading guys for draft capital, freeing up spots, whatever it has to be, D-line and a third receiver. The third receiver doesn't have to be like a second-round pick or something like that. There's guys out there you can get. It doesn't have to be some burner, like a Josh Gordon level, like just somebody that's a capable NFL receiver. I don't want to see more out there anymore. But you need a third guy. The Super Bowl proved it. You need 3 weapons. You can't have 2. They're going to double Kelce. They're going to double Hill. And the third guy is going to get one-on-one coverage. And you cannot be Sammy Watkins. I don't want to hear anything more about the Chiefs have all these freaking weapons. None of the weapons showed up in the Super Bowl. So, that's what I would do. I would address those needs now and make Russell Wilson happy because a quarterback drives your franchise. Sustain success through a quarterback.
Kevin, can I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So in terms of seriousness, I would say not very. Kind of like with Sean. I feel like, people might say Russell is untradeable. No one is untradeable on any football team. Like if there's a price that a Russell Wilson trade would make sense. Now that would be quite a lot. That would be quite a lot. If
Sean Watson's going to go for quite a lot in a couple weeks.
If Stafford goes for 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and then a quarterback no one wants, like you got to get a lot for Russell Wilson. So how serious are they? Probably not very at this point, especially considering there's still a couple of years on the contract. It might be more serious next year once he only has 1 year left, and then he actually has an option of just leaving entirely. But this year, I don't think they're that serious. If I am Shotty or Pete, I will echo exactly what Sean said here. Like there needs to be an offensive line. I'm not so much worried about the third receiver. I think the offensive line is the big key here. Like you just got to be able to let Russell Wilson have a little more time. We need just experience on the offensive line or just talent on the offensive line. Something that's going to keep Russell, for the most part, upright for most of the games that we play. Now, obviously, there's going to be some great D lines, and that stuff happens. And if people go down, then what can you do? But let's invest in the offensive line. Let's protect the biggest asset on the team, and let's just kind of lock it up. Because if Russ is scrambling for his life, then the rest of the weapons around him aren't going to matter so much anyway. So we really need to invest in that offensive line. And we also need to invest a little bit more in the defensive line as well, because, you know, I imagine going against the Legion of Boom in practice really helped Russ develop a little bit. Like, you can't go against that defense in practice and not get somewhat better. So going up against a formidable defensive line again in practice, and then that defensive line will translate into the game going against other quarterbacks. Like, the lines on both sides of the ball, I think the Super Bowl showed that those could arguably be the most important positions in the game.
Well,
because
other than quarterback, yeah.
Well, I mean, if there's no one in front of the quarterback, it's a dead man walking. So
we talked about it. It's a bare minimum, but you if you have NFL quality O-line, you'll be fine.
It's like in The Longest Yard where the offensive linemen were just like, Adam Sandler, you're in trouble here. We're not doing anything. You betrayed us.
That was Mahomes' the Super Bowl. Don't have those guys.
Yeah. So I mean, we just need to invest in both sides of the line. And yeah, I think we'll be in contention for the most part. Kevin, what about you?
Well, if I'm Pete, I just ignore every phone call that comes my way pretty much, because if Russell Wilson goes, my job is gone, because he's been saving my job for the last 8 years. But no 12th man wants to acknowledge that pretty much. I don't know why. Like, Russell's literally saved his job. Like, this defense has been hot garbage for the last, 4 years? Yeah, O-line, how I would address it to start, one, Dwayne Brown's good. You're good there.
He's 38.
I was gonna say not
I know.
long.
I think you have I think you have 2 years probably with Brown.
You gotta start trying to find his replacement.
Yes. I think he's kind of going to be like a Whitworth, to where like he can hold up until he's like 39, 40, and then you just gotta, and you gotta pray that, yeah.
That's risky, man, but I agree.
There has been times where like he gets shaken up during games on certain plays. So you gotta address both tackles. Like Shell for a Band-Aid played good enough, but like that should not be what you desire. You need to solidify both tackles. Period. You need to get a guy for right tackle, slide him in there, and get a pass protecting right tackle. None of this like, oh, he's good at the run block. Stop that crap. Like we saw with Lewis this year, like the absolute night and day difference between pass versus run blocking, and that's bad. Like we cannot do that route. You need to get guys that are good at pass protecting, because guys like Chris, like if you're going to bring back Chris Carson or like Penny, they can get those little extra yards beyond that. Plus you shouldn't be running the ball anywho. Like,
you could run it just like, when the defense.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you just go with the chance format just because it's cheap and it might be a thing, but that's another thing. You got to get a guard eventually on the left side. I think you get Pochik another year or two, just because one, he hasn't played center since college. He had the whole who was the guy that we had before him, Britt, like the whole like shuffle around the O-line type of deal. Like he didn't play great, don't get me wrong. He's a big size dude. He's a second round pick. Like
you're running into money though, Kevin. That's the problem.
That's the whole thing. He needs to be paid. But like with lack of draft picks and stuff like that, I think you just have to hope that you can sign him for cheap, just because of.
You also have lack of money too.
Yeah, I know. So hopefully you can maybe try to do a backloaded, like do a 2-year deal with all of it coming in the second year, like type of thing. I don't know. Just have John Schneider work his magic. But and as Sean said, you gotta get a weapon, and it's obviously Philip Dorsett. I mean,
to correct, Matthew did say the right thing. I think it doesn't have to be necessarily a wide receiver. It could be a tight end. Just you need someone that can catch a pass other than the two guys you have.
We had we had a freaking Hall of Fame tight end, and we didn't freaking use him last year. Like, what are we like?
Well, debatable Hall of Fame, but
yeah, I was gonna say debatable, but yeah. I get Kevin's point.
I think he probably will, because most people see him in that. But I mean, he's a good tight end. Don't get me wrong. Like he's a top.
He is.
Yeah. And then also with Disley, like the whole and then you have this Kobe Parkinson guy who's also, I think a beast.
It's your guy, man.
Dude,
Jacob Hollister.
Watch his college tape and you'll see why. Anywho, But yes, even like a third receiver like would be nice, like a nice good because literally people got to get open. Like it's got to be a thing, especially as DK starts developing and as Tyler has his mental issue weird thing that he has. Like it's you got to have that third guy who is dependable and that can do. And it's not David Moore. I know Matt loves him.
I love you, David.
But it's that he's not the answer, sadly.
Well, he's gone.
1 year,
too,
$2 million.
so.
Come
Yeah.
back.
He's no God, no, please.
But
I rather
two-
test Ursua, and I think Ursua has a higher ceiling. But yeah, defensive line wise, you just kind of maybe hoped you can get Carlos Dunlap back for cheap. You can probably get Mayoa back for really cheap.
Dunlap
then-
is on a contract.
Oh,
for
okay.
$14 million.
Oh,
Yeah, since he paid him.
so honestly, like, or just go based off. I mean, Alton Robinson had 4 sacks and barely played half the dang season. Like, let Alton Robinson play. You have Daryl Taylor coming back. Hopefully,
Yeah, I don't think the defensive line is as big of a problem as the offensive line. I think we can all agree there.
Yeah,
You got to get something though. Like it was still
Yeah.
not great.
True. Yeah, true.
So hopefully something gets addressed because we got to make Russell happy because he's literally what's winning us games. Like now, and he even admitted in an interview that he played like crap in the second half, and I'm glad to see that he acknowledged that because he was like his, as we already mentioned on this, his reads were terrible. Like and a lot of it was, in my opinion, was his distrust of the O-line, and that's a thing. Like at the same time,
So build the O-line.
yeah, at the same time, like even if you build an O-line, there are going to be times where like this guy named Aaron Donald, who's really good, he's gonna get through. That Chandler Jones guy, he's gonna get through. And that Nick Bosa guy, he's gonna get through. Like so, you like Russell's just gotta learn to not do his little bend over like collapse and thing. Throw the ball out. Do what Aaron Rodgers, just throw the ball out. Literally, if you think that's the worst case scenario, you think you're about to get sacked, throw that ball out.
Look, I think what we could say here is we'd rather have Russ running for his life 5 times rather than 15 times. I think we can all say let's just reduce the number of times him running for his life. That's all.
That man has been set. Like we have been super lucky that he's really only got injured once and he played through it. Like we have gotten really lucky. Like the fact that he's super smart with, like he puts a lot of money and a lot of care into his body, and he's just super smart with what he does. Like on how he just gets down and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of times I think the bend over thing is just to protect himself, which is good because I don't want to see Russell hurt on a sack. That's really bad. But at the same time too, like you gotta like get the, like taking a sack and it being 2nd and 19 versus throwing that ball out and like taking a little bit of a shot and it's now 2nd and 10. Like that's night and day difference. Like especially with the offense that you should have with DK Tyler and hopefully adding more pieces, like it's just night and day. Like a 2nd and 19 is so hard just to get, just to come back and get a first down on. So,
all right. Well, let us know what you thought of the Super Bowl. Let us know what you think of these Russell trade rumors and him being frustrated. Tweet at us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean's at Sean_Beatty. Kev is at Kev believes the first team believes in a 3. Subscribe on the YouTube. Follow us on the Eli Network. Just let us know what you think of anything that's going on with the Seahawks wise and what you thought of the Super Bowl. But gentlemen, I want to end on a little bit more fun topic. We got a lot of stuff we're going to cover next show, but I wanted to, we did the swipe right message, swipe right, and then swipe left. We're going to play a little bit different game. I'm going to do random rankings this week. So the random rankings this week are for best original logo. Now I'm only incorporating major pro sports teams. So, you want to throw in the Everett Silvertips, get them out of here. They're not major pro sports. Not that the Everett logo is that great anyway, but let's just break down. I'm going to even include the Sonics on this one. So I'm going to share my screen here and I'll show you the first original logo. So this is the Seattle Sounders original logo. So just get a good look at that, guys. The green with the water coming in and the soccer ball. Interesting first logo for the Seattle Sounders there. Interesting first logo. So unfortunately, these controls are not allowing me to switch over. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to share again for the Seattle Supersonics original logo. Now, This is a major throwback. This is 1970s. So not a lot of people have probably seen this logo too much, but this is the original Seattle Supersonics logo. This is probably the one you're more familiar with. That's the cream of the crop Seattle Supersonics logo right there. But this isn't a bad
Why is
start.
OKC in related links?
Because
Stop.
because the NBA is a cruel mistress. Basketball is a cruel mistress. All right, so we will have a hockey team in 2021, and this is the logo. So that's the cool classic Seattle S with a little red eye in there to symbolize the Kraken. And then I've been seeing a lot of photoshops of Russ in a classic Seahawks uni. So this is the original Seahawk logo here. And I don't know if you guys have seen those on Twitter with Russ photoshopped in those original jerseys. Would love to see a throwback game next year. Would love to see a throwback game with these unis, maybe auction them off or something. But gentlemen, give me your top 4 logo rankings. So I'm going to start just
Northwest, like Northwest.
Well, just Seattle.
Mariners.
Okay, just Seattle.
Mariners?
Just Seattle.
Oh, sorry. Mariners. Oh my God, I forgot the Mariners.
Yeah, you forgot the Mariners. You run a Northwest Sports podcast and you forgot about the Mariners.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they're fairly forgettable.
Hold on, no. I got my Yusei Kikuchi.
You got it?
No, it's my Yusei
I thought you had the
Kikuchi.
logo. I thought you had the logo.
No, I can't find the original logo. I was looking in my room.
I thought Kev would have his hat on. That's what I was counting on here.
I have a Seahawk. Hold on.
I know. Here, I got it. All right. So there is the original Mariners logo right there. Can't believe I forgot about the Seattle Mariners, even though they're so forgettable. Can't make the playoffs in 20 years. But that is the original
19
Seattle
jerk.
Oh, sorry. So that is the original Seattle Mariners logo. So I'm gonna put these logos into rankings. Bottom of the pack, number 5, Sounders. Original. I mean, it's not a terrible design.
Okay.
There it is. There's Kev's right there.
You got the whole hat. Thanks.
So we're just doing original. We're doing OG. We're doing OG.
We're doing OG. So Sounders, I think, is 5 for me. Number 4, I would have to go with the Kraken. Not that it's not a cool logo. I just don't think it's as cool as the OG older logos from some of the more older pro sports teams in Seattle. So it's a little bit more of a modern look for their original logo, and it is a good logo, but it's number 4 for me. Number 3 is gonna have to be the Seattle Mariners. I like the M. I like the trident that they've got going there. Solid color scheme. The original hats were pretty good. But that's going to be number 3 for me. Number 2 is going to be the OG Seahawks. I think the classic blue and the classic green is really nice. I mean, the bird looks menacing, but not too menacing to where it doesn't want to be friends with the fans, but it's like menacing to other teams that are going to face us. And then the Seattle Supersonics original logo, it's just so ancient, so buried, and it's an epitome of Seattle sports. Like that Space Needle, it looks good. It looks good. I would like to get a shirt with that. I don't know if I'll be able to find it anywhere. But Sean,
Amazon.
Maybe. I don't know. Amazon doesn't have everything. Sean, what are your logo rankings?
Well, I'll agree with you. The Sounders are 5. It just doesn't do it. It's just a 0. O is a soccer ball. Like there's a wave in colors. I mean, their new one's much better. Number 4 is the Sonics one. Like
what?
That one I hated. We saved it. I was waiting for you to say it. I hated that Sonics one.
Oh wow!
Well, I guess not hated. It's not the right word, but I just was like, "What is happening here? Like, this is ridiculous." Now we get to the big 3 because I really like the Kraken. I'll go Mariners, even though I have that jersey in Edgar Martinez. I have that actual jersey, like the original jersey in Edgar Martinez. And then I'll go Kraken 2, but it's really close. And then OG Seahawks, because I just love the colors. It was super simple. The blue and the kind of like the silver gray. Like, it was just a cool look, man.
I mean, Joey Galloway and Rick Meyer looked so good in those, didn't they?
Joey Galloway, man, like that's just straight up. I just like that. That's mine.
Kevin, what about you?
Well, the whole thing is the number one, and I'm gonna hopefully kind of get on my phone here to show you guys, is obviously the Seattle Dragons.
Ooh,
I mean,
okay.
come
All right,
on.
we did forget
Let's
about them,
go,
but they're
Dragons.
technically not actually a thing until next year, allegedly. So
Just kidding. Okay, number 5 is the Sounders, just because it's not good.
It's boring. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with number 4. I'm actually gonna agree with Sean. I'm gonna take the Sonics. I mean, I love the colors. Don't get me wrong, and the sky view is nice and stuff, but the other 3 just kind of outdo it in coolness. Number 3, I'm gonna go Seahawks, just because, just based off logos. I love the jerseys, but I actually prefer the newer updated version of the actual logo itself. Just because it's more
Actually, Kevin, before you
fierce.
go on, I think I forgot. Yeah, I went jersey. I think logo, it's just logo. I'll have to bump the Seahawks down to 3 and do Kraken 1, Mariners 2. Yeah, if it's just logo, I got caught up in the jersey. Yeah, Kevin's right.
Now going on from that, I'm gonna be the reverse of Sean, actually. I'm gonna go Kraken 2. I do love it. Like, it's, when I saw that, I was just like, holy shit, this is fucking, sorry my language, this is just really freaking cool.
Kevin, you moaned earlier this podcast. I think your language is okay.
And then number 1, I gotta give it to the Mariners. 1, I just love the M trident. I love the colors too, the blue and yellow. I have a jacket of it, as Sean has seen. We bought it there on his bachelor party game. Which,
why did you say Sean? Matthew was my best man.
Yeah,
like,
I was.
Oh, yeah.
He planned the bachelor party that you were.
Sorry,
like,
I'm an old man. I have a terrible memory. But it's just, I love the colors. I love that we also do throwbacks to it a lot of times too. Not to say that I don't like our new colors. I do like the new colors as well. But with the way they've amped them up, especially now with technology nowadays, like, it's just beautiful. The whole blue and yellow, how they mix it together. Not one outdoes the other type of thing. And the trident's just awesome. Like, it's a trident. I mean, Brick killed the guy with it, you know. It's just kind of what happens. So I'd have to put the Mariners at 1. I just love that trident. I love all the Mariners logos, to be honest. Like, and that's why I have it. Like,
Mariners logos have always been. I really love the Mariners logos.
This one, like,
yeah,
even though it's kind of like basic and it's still cool. I love.
It was very 90s. That's very 90s.
I do love these 2 as well in the front. Like, they've always had very good.
Mariners do have pretty solid logos throughout their time. That's for sure.
Maybe Matthew just hopes their team could be as good as their logo.
I that is definitely true. One of these days they'll live up to the logo, but it hasn't been for a while. So let us know what your logo rankings are for Seattle professional sports teams. Don't forget about the Mariners, like I did. But let us know. Tweet at us. I'm at Betty_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Betty. Kev's at Kev Believes. The first thing believes. Being a 3, just subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on the Elan Network. We'll get this up as soon as possible.
Best logo of my team's San Jose Sharks.
OG logo, because that one.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
OG San Jose Sharks, the best logo.
That was good stuff.
No,
all right,
the Ducks suck it.
Hey, I am very excited about the Mighty Ducks original Disney Plus series next month. So everybody, keep your eye out for that. That's gonna be great.
We're sponsored by Disney. We're sponsored by Disney Plus.
No, I just love Emilio Estevez. That's really all it is.
Who doesn't love Emilio?
Right. All right. Well, we've got a lot to talk about next show, but that's all the time we have on this one. We will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports.
Don't copy me, Sean. No, stop it.